Kisiu Grisnam, Kisiu Kukit, Kisiu Quiet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all my wealthy warriors. I hope you've had a wonderful week so far, and I hope you get something out of this podcast this week. And this podcast, this episode I'm going to jump into, I've wanted to talk about it for a little while now. And most times when I actually have an idea for my podcast, I'll have to stop what I'm doing and write it down in my notes. Like I have my physical notes on my iPhone where I write down and I text, type in my ideas that I want to talk about in the future on my podcast, just so I don't forget it. And this one has just been on my mind. It's been on the top of my mind for the past couple weeks. I wanted to do it last week, but I know I had some people asking me about my name and all that, so I thought I would change it up a little bit. But I wanted to talk about this recently for some time now, and it's on how people perceive me in person, and how some people, who actually know me personally, don't see this side of me at all. And there's this story that really resonates with me, and it really is kind of unfolded my life and how I interact with people, and how I am with my friends and my family and things like that. And there's this saying, it's not a story, it's just a saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink the water no matter how hard you try. The horse will never drink the water until it's ready, until it's thirsty, until it's parched, and until like I am kind of right now, as you can tell through my throat, that it needs to drink the water. You may have the best intentions for that horse. You might really think it's thirsty. You might really think it's parched. And you could try to tell it to drink the water, but it won't until it's ready. And that's how I am in person. And that's how I am around my friends. And that's how I am around my loved ones and the people that I hang out with. I'm not sitting there trying to preach anything on my friends. I'm not trying to preach anything on anyone that doesn't want to really hear it, because until they are ready, they won't hear it. Just like when I quit drinking alcohol, I knew alcohol wasn't good for me, and there was some people in my family and relatives that were praying for me to sober up and saying alcohol wasn't good for me and all this stuff. But until I was actually ready to quit, people could do whatever, tell me whatever they want, show me the information that they wanted. And until my mind was ready to open to that experience, to be open-minded, it wasn't going to happen. So I'm actually a very pretty quiet person in person most times, because I like to sit there and watch. And that's how I learn things, by looking and, just paying attention. And I'm a person that notices little things. I'm someone who notices subtle little things in people. And it's interesting because that's how I learn. This past summer, I was kind of watching some tennis games, and I knew nothing about tennis until I watched Serena Williams play a couple matches. And I watched a couple of the I don't even know what it's called, but the games of tennis this summer, because I was kind of watching Serena Williams and some other people play. And that's how I learned, the basic scoring system of tennis. And it didn't take me that long to look at it and dissect it and understand it, because my mind was ready and open-minded to seeing that. And that's how I am nowadays as well. And I'm still like consistently learning how to be that way. I was talking with someone, and the old me would kind of like brush it aside or whatever, and not want to go down that road. But I stopped. I just said sorry, sorry, and that's all it took, was just that subtle little moment of realizing that I was about to go into an old habit. And I just needed to take a second to step back before I responded, and I needed to just think on how that person feels. And all it took was just one extra moment of being mindful before I spoke. And that's me, being open to change, to being, to understanding that I don't know everything, to humbling myself, to grounding myself, to holding myself accountable for certain situations. And so if you ever meet me in person, you might think that I'm this person that talks a lot, that just knows everything in that exact moment, when it's the total opposite. That I'm more of an introvert sometimes. I'm socially awkward sometimes, and I've talked about that before, and how that comes from the residential schools, and that such, that is that shame that's is instilled with Indigenous people, that was put upon my ancestors in those schools. And I've noticed it, and I've seen it a common thing in the Indigenous community, that social awkwardness. But then sometimes we're open and flamboyant, and we joke around, and it just depends where I'm at, also in my life, in my day, in that moment. And sometimes I'm blown away. Like, I still am. I'm blown away when people recognize me out in public, and they see me, and they know who I am. And it makes me feel grateful, but I'm also still blown away that, me, I can, 5 years ago, I would never see myself. I couldn't see myself where I am today, helping, one person a day. I know it's more than one person a day, but that's my goal, right? To help one person a day, no matter what, in some form. And I know I help multiple people now throughout each day. And it's just shocking to see people, recognize me and they get happy. And there's even people who recognize me in public and they're too shy to say anything. I'm just a human being. I'm just like you. There's nothing different about me from you. It's just that I found my passion on what I want to do in life. I found my passion and I'm following it and I'm working towards it daily to keep coming better at that thing in that area in the subject. And as I grow and as I accumulate more knowledge, I'll just grow. And I just think it's interesting how some people will build up a story in their minds, and I've done it too. I do it too about people as well, and they think they're this person, and sometimes we compare ourselves to another person, that they have it all together, and they're so motivated and they're so blah blah blah, whatever, right? Not seeing the full spectrum of their life. I struggle daily. I struggle all the time still, and I don't have it figured out, and I never ever will have it all figured out. And I'm, these things that I talk about are things that I've done or I'm currently doing to grow in life. So that's why I talk about them, because they're so fresh and they're the things that I've done that have helped me. So I think, hey, these things have helped me. Why not share it with other people so they can do the same thing? So if you compare yourself to me, trust me, I do not have it all together, but I'm doing the best I can with what I have in this moment. And that's the same thing for you. You are doing the best with what you can right now, with what you have in this moment. And as you accumulate more tools and as you accumulate more experience, things get easier. Some things will still be hard, but they will get easier to do. Like with me and taking cold showers. Some days I just do not want to take cold showers at the very end. But guess what I do every time? Is I crank that shower cold. And even if it's for 10-15 seconds sometimes, I will still stand in that water and breathe, and I will still do a whole 360 and make sure all of my body gets it. And especially in these cold months right now, where it's cold outside and it's wet here in Vancouver and it's dark and it's wet because it rains. I don't want to do that, but I know that for my mind and my mental health and that strength to tell my mind I'm in control, I have to do it every time I take a shower. Sometimes, I'll take 2 showers in a day, and I will, relax on that second time, but I have to if I'm only taking 1 shower a day. There's been times where I've taken 2 showers, and that second shower, I didn't crank the water cold because I already had done it. And there's things that I don't want to do. There's sometimes I don't want to go to the gym and work out, and I still make it. And I just trick myself, and I tell myself, okay, we'll just have a half-assed workout today, and we'll just kind of skimp by. But then when I get there and I start warming up and I start my first sets of my warm-ups, I'm like, okay, we're here, we might as well just do the work and get it done with. And by the end of it, I feel phenomenal. So if you have this persona about who I am and you compare yourself to me, you're doing yourself, you're not doing yourself any justice, not knowing the hurdles that I've had to overcome, the things that I've had to do, the things that I'm still struggling with, the things that I am still, learning on. You should only be comparing yourself to yourself in your journey. And you should be like that horse and look at your own reflection in the water before you drink it. When you get thirsty and you want to, drink that water, you're going to have to look at yourself in the reflection of the river, of the lake, or whatever you're drinking out of. That's who you should only be comparing yourself to. And understand that everything happens for the right reasons. And, that, you may learn things from me on this podcast. You may learn things that I share throughout my content. And you may want to share it with everyone you know. But just take it with a grain of salt, because like that horse, you might accumulate all this knowledge and you might want to share it with everyone, but not everyone that you know is thirsty and ready to drink the water yet. And there's even people within the indigenous community that aren't ready to hear what I have to say about things, especially about sobriety. That's a big, rough topic that I've overcome now in the indigenous community. There's a lot of toxicness and all those things in our indigenous community around that. And I just take that as the saying with the horse. One day they might be ready to listen to what I have to say, but until then, they'll just be standing by that riverbank or the lake, not drinking the water yet, drinking the alcohol. Just kidding. But yeah. So I thought I would just, I really wanted to share this, that this just basically just goes back to the saying, everything happens for the right reasons. Patience is a virtue. Easy come, easy go. All these things, they come back to, difficult things will last long. People say, oh, it's hard. Well, yeah, it's going to be hard because it's going to be that much more fulfilling when you actually obtain that thing. So if you do ever see me in person, hopefully you do one day, just understand that I am human like you. We're all human. We're all doing the best, with what we're given at this moment in life. And, I'm not always rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and all that, because I do still get frustrated once in a while. I still get upset, I still get angry. I still have emotions because I'm a human, and we were given these emotions to feel life, to feel life to its fullest. And that's the only way you can actually understand life, is through your emotions, but not allowing those emotions to dictate your whole life. You also have to have that balance on being mindful, on understanding when it's a good time to feel those emotions and act on those emotions, and when it's not a good time to act on those emotions. So with that, I'm gonna head off, and I will see you next week, all my wealthy warriors. Please like, subscribe, wherever you follow this podcast on. Share it with someone. Maybe they're ready to drink the water. Who knows? Maybe they're thirsty now. So, on Winnegat Dagas. And remember, everything always happens for the right reasons. Take care.